We'll call the meeting to order and have the secretary call the roll.
Here.
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 The chair declares that we have a quorum to conduct business, and we'll call on Mr. Russell Hewlin for an announcement.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. The senior staff is pleased to announce the selection of Jennifer Mason to the position of a procurement division manager. The procurement division plays a key role in providing goods and services for the department and fulfilling its mission, and we're glad to be presenting this today. Jennifer started with the department back in 2005 in the comptroller division, and subsequently served a stint in the transit division as well before coming into the procurement branch in 2013. She served in the leadership capacity in that branch since that time, and obviously now is being selected for the position. She was selected among a group of very qualified and excellent candidates. So Jennifer is a certified procurement officer, and she's also a member of the Oklahoma Association of Public Procurement and the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing. We'd like for her to stand and be recognized during this time and welcome her to this position. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the announcement. Congratulations. We'll hear a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of January the 4th.
Motion approved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. We're going to see if it works. Please vote. Motion passes. You pass that down to her at the end. The consent document consists of items 14 through 18, and we'll hear a motion on it unless there's a member of the commission that would like to pull an item out and talk about it separately, which we'll do with unanimous consent. Otherwise, we'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. The motion passes. Thank you. Item 19 will be presented by Mr. Tiegler. It's the engineering contracts.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Item 19 are our statewide, our contracts, and engineering contracts. I have 8 parts this month. Part A is a statewide contract for off-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. Total not to exceed amount for these contracts are $3,750,183. Part B is K County. This is for engineering and construction plans for State Highway 11 over abandoned railroad with Atkins North America. Total not to exceed amount is $292,695. Part C in Kingfisher County. This is engineering and construction plans for State Highway 33 with MKEC Engineering. Total not to exceed is $628,850. Part D in Logan County, engineering and construction plans for State Highway 51 with Guy Engineering Services. Total not to exceed amount is $341,842. Part E in Beckham County, this is engineering and construction plans for I-40 rehab bridges over US 283 with MKEC Engineering. Total not to exceed amount is $261,700. Part F, Custer County, engineering and construction plans for State Highway 33. This is with Atkins North America with a total not to exceed amount for $416,400. And Part G, Carter County, engineering and construction plans for State Highway 142 over the BNSF Railroad with Benham Design. This is a total not to exceed amount of $1,196,905. And finally, Part H in Love County, engineering construction plans for State Highway 153 bridge over I-35 and some reconstruction of the interchange with White Engineering Associates. This is a total not to exceed amount of $1,029,315. All projects are in the current 8-year construction work plan program, and approval is recommended. Take any questions if you have any.
You've heard the presentation. What's your pleasure?
Motion approved.
We have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. We are ready to vote unless anybody wants to talk about it some more. Motion passes. Thank you, sir. You can move to item number 20.
Thank you. These are our engineering contract supplements this month. I have 2 parts. Part A is Payne County Engineering additional engineering to develop the final construction plans for State Highway 33. This is with Meshack and Associates for $21,908. Part B in Grady County and additional engineering to do the final construction plans for US 277 over Smith Creek. This is with Cabinets Engineering for $49,085. Approval is recommended, and I'll answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on item 20? We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Helms is going to present the lettings.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of commission. Agenda item 21 is consists of the final April, tentative May, and tentative June bid openings, and the department requests and recommends approval of this item.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation for item 21.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 22 are the change orders. Mr. Raymond's going to present those under 50 first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to present item 22, parts A through S. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total of $50,000 or less. This item is presented for your information only, but I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have.
Anyone on the commission have any questions on the items under 50,000? I think they're 200 and some odd $1,000 altogether. Can't remember the exact number. If there are no questions, would you move to the change order cumulative total greater than 50,000?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'd like to present item 23, parts A through double H. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total greater than $50,000, and your approval is recommended.
Heard the presentation.
I make a motion that we approve.
Have an approval motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? Might mention that we're still filing contracts around the 3% range on over and unders, I think, for the last 10 years. Is that the right number? Right.
Yes, I believe it's less than that, less than 3%.
You guys do a good job.
Thank you.
We're ready to vote. Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're ready to hear item number 24.
Yes, sir. Item number 24, this is also an informational item. No action is necessary. This is to document a change in our change order approval process and to increase the delegated change order approval authority to the field division engineers from $50,000 to $75,000. Statute provides that by commission rule, the commission may authorize the director of the Department of Transportation to approve change orders in the amount not to exceed $500,000. And by rule, y'all have done that. The commission rules do grant that approval to the director, and it further grants the director to delegate change order approval authority to the field division engineers up to $75,000 on a contract. That went into effect back in 2013. We have never reflected that change in the commission rules in our process, and we would like to document that today, that effective February 13th, the department will begin processing change orders under that $75,000 delegated authority. Any change order approved by a field division engineer and submitted to the construction division prior to that date will be presented at the March commission meeting. But if it's presented to the construction division after that date, up to $75,000 will be rolled into the informational item starting with the April commission meeting. This item is presented for your information only. No action is necessary, but I'll try to answer any questions that you may have.
Appreciate you reading that for us, and we covered it also in our committee meeting. Do any of the commissioners not in our meeting that may not have been briefed have need for a further explanation? I think we've talked about it for a couple of months now.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your support on this.
Thank you. Mr. Dels is going to present item 25, which is the awards.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. Item number 25 are recommendations from the January 19th bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the January 19th bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. That's call orders 10, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 85, 90, 110, 120, 135, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220 with the add alternate, 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300, 310, 320, 340, 350, 370, 390, 410, 430, 470, 480, 485, 490, 500, 525, 530, 555, 560, 570, 580, 595, 600, 610, 620, and 630. It is recommended that the following item from the January 19th bid opening referred to by call order be rejected. That's call order 130. Lastly, it is recommended that the decision regarding either award or rejection for the following item from the January 19th bid opening referred to by call order be deferred in accordance with state statutes for a period not to exceed 90 days, and that's call order 450. This concludes the recommendations for award, and your approval is requested. Yes, sir.
Thank you for that presentation. We'll now hear a motion.
Move we accept.
We have a motion to accept.
Second.
Have a motion in the form of a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we are ready to vote. Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
For that presentation, and we're ready for you, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. You're a small but strong bunch, I'll tell you. Thank you, Commissioner Regan, for coming in. I know you had to change some stuff to get here, and I appreciate that.
I've been coughing up lung rodents all weekend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody over here, move over there. Sure, you're on your own. Commission, I want to touch on a couple of things. Shelley came up and you talked about the tentative and final bid openings that are in the coming months. They're smaller than what we normally see this time of year. It's not a situation to be alarmed about. It's, quite frankly, I think it's, for what we're given, it is a good thing. We're under a continuing resolution until late April, and we have used up all of our federal funds that were allocated to us. So that's a product of having projects on the shelf ready to go. So I'm not concerned about that. What concerns me is we're under a continuing resolution, and that's an ongoing concern that we've had for a number of years. And hopefully Congress will take that up in due time and get us the balance of our money for the rest of the fiscal year. But I'm confident in keeping with their normal operational methods that it will be late April when they do that. But again, I'm hoping that they'll be able to give us the balance of the fiscal year and we can go ahead and get everything back on track and get it scheduled and get going. The projects that you'll see in those 2 months are primarily state funded or county funded only projects, and so that's why they're so small. But we've made the construction industry aware of the situation, and we'll work through it like we do everything else. Just a quick update, you approved some more rail crossings this month. That takes us up to 196 locations for a total of $57.8 million. You will recall that when we started this trek, it was a $100 million effort, unprecedented anywhere in the country. The legislature reduced it by $28 million when they took $28 million last year as part of the budget compromise. So we're working with an amount less than that of $71 million, $72 million. But so we're going to continue on that way. So we're at 57.8 on the way to 71. Still, no other state has undertaken anything quite like this. So still very proud of the way ODOT has undertaken this, along with the railroads. It's a big effort for them because we have to remember we're the money part of this deal, but they have to go out and do the work, and they have adjusted their schedules and adjusted their crews to make this thing work, and we're really appreciative of that. Legislative session starts in just a few minutes, and it was with some apprehension, you know, you go into one of these things knowing that the challenges that the legislature has with the budget and what that will mean for us. I will repeat a couple of things that I've recently stated, is that if we go through a similar kind of situation that we did last year and giving up $300+ million, we will not be able to maintain the 8-year plan in its current form. I think that goes without saying. So we'll be watching with interest. We know that there's motor fuel tax increase bills out there going for either transportation or education are the two places that I've seen that motor fuel tax increases are going. We will see where this takes us. We will be part of that discussion because we have to be, just by the sheer nature of that is the source, primary source of our revenue. And typically that's where it goes to transportation. So we will be part of that conversation. I don't foresee us getting more money than we're owed. And I use that word owed as that's what's in the statute, so we expect to get our full measure of motor fuel tax, which is about $205 million, and then the income tax allocation is expected to come to us. All that being said, not anticipating more money, but what we've been talking about is just give us the money that's already in the statute. So we will work through that as well. My final thing is a bit bittersweet. Today is George Raymond's last time to present before the commission. Now, I remember when first time I met George, we both had really long hair. I was the long blonde-headed guy, and he was the long brunette guy. Our hair has gotten, it got real short, and now it's getting a little bit longer, you can see. But I don't know if George is going back to the old ways. I may someday, but not anytime soon. George came to us back in 1986. He started in the EIT program, where so many of our engineers start. It's a breeding ground for quality engineers and quality leaders for this organization. He became the resident engineer in Purcell in 1993 and stayed there for about 5 years. And then a couple of guys talked him into coming to the city. And he became our construction engineer. And in 2014, he was thinking about retiring, and we talked him into staying a couple more years. And he did that. He gave us 2.5 years, even after thinking about leaving. And I very much appreciate that. One of the things George does, he does so many things for us inside a meeting room. But one of the things that he does, he keeps all the retirees engaged in ODOT. He organizes the monthly retiree luncheon. And that's a big deal, you know, keeping the guys that came before us together. And I guess George will go, he goes every month now. I guess he'll just keep going, but he'll be on the other side of the table. He won't have to organize it anymore, I guess. But throughout this, and I'm going to ask George to come up because I know he wants to address the commission. Throughout this, I don't think anybody in this room would ever question George Raymond's intellect, his integrity, or his loyalty to ODOT. He was always there for us and as an organization and me personally. Anytime I needed something explained to me, he would always take his time to educate. And he's been doing that the entire time I've known him, which is probably early 90s. And for that, I really appreciate George's dedication to all of this. Mr. Chairman, can we have George come up?
You bet. Let's put him on the hot seat. You know, we weren't going to pass that item 24 until we waited till his last meeting. We didn't want any abuse.
That was very nice of the director to say. And it was all believable until he said nobody would question my intellect, and then lost all credibility after that. I'm sorry. It's been my honor to serve in this capacity for the agency for, the past 2.5 years as Assistant Director of Operations and about 16 years prior to that up here in the city, and 14 of that as the state construction engineer. I've been presenting to the commission for over 16 years now. And it's been a pleasure for me and an honor, and I've been really blessed to have this career at ODOT. The director caught me on my way to the bathroom before this meeting, and he told me he was going to ask me to come up here and say a couple things. And as I was in the bathroom, you know, it dawned on me that there's two buzzwords in government that kind of sum up my career, and that's transparent and tolerant. All of you that know me know that I'm very transparent. I try not to be mean-spirited about it, but sometimes it comes across that way. But nobody ever has any problem on knowing where I stand on an issue, and I feel like I'm very transparent. I almost always have an opinion on something, and I'm willing to share it. Occasionally, something will come up, and I'll tell Casey, I'm like, man, I'm sorry, but I can't help you with this. I don't really have an opinion on it, and he'll just be shocked. So I'm very transparent. And then the tolerant part, it doesn't really explain me, but it explains all of the people that I work with. Starting with you at the commission, y'all have been very tolerant of me. I've only been chastised a couple of times in private, you know, by commissioners. All of the folks that I work with have always been tolerant of me. I've offered my 2 weeks letter of resignation twice in my career, and my supervisors at the time refused to take it. So it just goes to show you how tolerant they were of me. And all of the folks that I work with and that have worked with me have always been tolerant of me, because I'm not easy to get along with at all times. Got 2 ex-wives that'll testify to that. So I'd like to thank the commission very much, thank the agency for having me this long, and I appreciate you guys as well. Thank you.
George, you left the podium. George, you have to come back up here. Nobody told you this was a roast?
You can't run off, George.
No.
No, I did want to say, when I came here in the early 90s, that 2 things struck me, and it was you 2 guys with the long hair, and I thought, where in the world did they come from? You know? I mean, do they really work here, or are they protesting, or what? And lo and behold, you two guys are key leaders here. And, you know, I understand your comments. One thing I've always appreciated is your directness and your willingness to answer. Because as a commissioner, you know, the kiss of death for me is somebody just looking at you without an opinion or a comment, or they don't know what they're talking about. And I've never found that with you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you on, in that way, and wish you a lot of success. And people will miss you. We won't roast you, but does anybody else have a comment before we let him off? Or do you want to let him off easy?
Thank you.
But if nobody has a comment, there is one final question. Are you going to let your hair grow as long as it was?
No, sir.
It was a big event here when they cut their hair. Do y'all remember that? I mean, I was like, wow, you know.
Yes, there was people that didn't recognize me as they passed me in the hallway until I started talking, and then they'd be like, oh, that's George.
Hey, you're a great man, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck in the future.
I cut off an 11-inch long ponytail and donated it to the Locks of Love in May of 2002.
Holy cat shit, Batman.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hair.
That is.
He started cutting his hair when he was running for the director spot. Got shorter, shorter. Started looking like Johnny Unitas and Tim Tebow in the final interview.
He's starting to feel better.
Yeah. Appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. Do you have anything further, Mr. Director? Anyone from the commission? We'll hear a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Since we have this electronic thing, we better use it. We're adjourned.